fastest robot. So I don't think a human will ever be able to solve it that fast. So I guess robots kind of have that over us. And the way that people know how fast you can do it is there's this thing called speed cubing competitions where people just try to solve the cube as fast as they possibly can. And these are going on all around the world. And the first one ever was in Budapest, where Rubik was actually from in 1982. And they've really spread and taken off all over, and there's the USA page for one is right here if you're interested to look more into that. And there's actually a lot of variations of the cube. Like this one is 3x3x3, but then they started coming out with 4x4x4s and 5x5x5s. And the biggest one ever made actually was 17x17x17. And there is a video on YouTube of someone solving it. It's in time lapse, but it took them 7.5 hours. I think the video is like 10 minutes long. So that would definitely be pretty difficult to do. And then there's a 4-dimensional version that's kind of been theorized called Rubik's Tesseract, and it kind of has something to do with what Jordan was talking about with his presentation the other day. With a 4D cube, it's called a hypercube, and it's like a 3x3x3x3 cube. And there's a link here for a YouTube video that kind of helps you try to visualize that if you want to look at that. And then, like I said earlier, there's over 43 quintillion possible arrangements of the cube, but only one of them actually solves it. And there's so many different configurations that if either the cube or the tesseract change positions every second since the beginning of the universe, they would still be turning today and not have exhibited every possible configuration. So, sometimes people pick one up. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I've had my cube since I was in 6th grade, and my friends always pick it up and be like, oh, I'm just going to try to figure it out. I'll probably can get it. You're not going to just solve it just by messing around with it. And I encourage you all to try it out. Rubik's Cubes are, a pretty fun thing to play with if you're bored or if you're on a long car ride or something. And there's actually a site here on how to solve it. So if you're interested, I'd check that out for sure. And those are my sources and my photo and video sources.
So when you learned it, tell us what you did.
One of my friends actually knew how to do it when I was in middle school, and he first showed me one step at a time. So I just learned one step and kind of mastered every step at a time. And then once I got one step down, then I went on to the next step, and then by the end, once I got to the last step, then it was just kind of, you knew how to do it already pretty much.
So when you first got it, how many times would you say you did it in a day?
When I first learned how to do it, I probably did it 3 or 4 times a day, I guess. But it took it probably took me a week or 2 to learn it, just to every day spending an hour trying to get it, but yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing.